Hello, my beautiful fragrance family. Dustin here, fragrance fan. Go ahead and do me a solid and click that like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification. And I'm just going to keep on giving you guys these budget-friendly fragrance reviews. That 40-ish and $100 range. Most of these are way less than that. And a good number of these you can find at your local rack stores. And all three of these here are... Let me roll that back. Two of these you can find at your local rack stores. And the other one I found online for a pretty reasonable price. And these have been marked down significantly. And by the title of the thumbnail, you can probably guess why they have been marked down so much. And it kind of hurts to say some of the things I'm going to about these fragrances. But without talking too much, let's just dive right into this review and start things off with Polo Sport by Ralph Lauren. I think I found this one for like $20 or something like that. And it's spicy, grassy, minty, floral, citrus. It's energizing. It's uplifting. It's got that nice, strong cedar base in the opening of this thing. If you remember what this smelled like, when you spray this on, if you buy this and you get the opening of this, it's really, really going to give you a strong sense of nostalgia because they really nailed it. It's still almost identical, a little bit more synthetic if memory serves me correct, back from like 1998 or whenever I first started smelling this thing. But I think the atomizer lid was metal and this was chrome, I think. But I got it on my hand, and the main problem that I'm having with this one is it just dissipates so quickly. I don't ever remember this being a beast, but it was definitely a pretty good performer. I remember hours later after spraying this thing, or others spraying this thing. I remember when I first discovered this, there was somebody, and I say, man, what are you wearing? And it was Polo Sport, you would say, and I could smell it for a long time. Not so much anymore. It's like a 3-hour fragrance maybe. And the dry down loses a lot of that zest, a lot of that uplifting, that fresh minty stuff, and you're left more with like the floral woody base. And you know, that's kind of normal, but I think it's a little bit more extreme now in this reformulation. So if you go to get this and you're expecting it to be like it was, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. Now, if you just want it just for like out of the shower, if this was your jam and you want to revisit that moment to capture what this thing used to be like, and you just in love with that opening, then go ahead and get it because it will bring you back to that. They did a good job with the opening as far as kind of replicating the way that it was. But yeah, Polo Sport, I was excited to get it. I was like, yeah, I got one of my jams back, but I just can't really find many excuses to wear it because it's going to be gone off of me by the time I get to wherever it is that I'm going. I won't be able to enjoy my scent bubble, right? So yeah, Polo Sport by Ralph Lauren. If you get it, I warned you, performance ain't what it used to be. Up next, a fragrance that became my first favorite fragrance. Got this in 7th grade for Christmas at one point, and I was in love with this thing, and that's the original Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. A green, fresh, spicy touch of sweet amber and tart fruits kind of a fragrance. And it's there. It's all there. Now this one, I will say, never was any kind of a good performer. It would, from my memory, again, this was a long time ago, but I wore it a lot. I spent a lot of time with this thing back in the day. I was getting like 4 hours or something. Now, it's like 30 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. If you overspray on this thing, you might get an hour or something. If you guys get a different experience out of this, please let me know. But for me, man, this thing just disappears real quick, like after 30 minutes. And there's stuff that's going to be lingering and hanging around. I got that on my hand. And the stuff that lingers and hangs around that's like an extreme skin scent, it smells really good. It's a real sparkly, fresh spiciness that's left behind, like wood and sparkly, fresh spiciness. It's really, really nice. But it's that far off the skin. It doesn't project at all. And it's heartbreaking. I love this fragrance, but again, it's marked way down, like $20 or something now for the 3.4 ounce bottle. And if you're just wanting to get that nostalgia, say like out of the shower or just lounging around your house or even at the gym because it's so light. These are going to work at the gym because they're so light. So they are good for that. They're not like good for nothing, and none of them smell terrible. They don't smell terrible. They smell really, really close to what they used to smell like. It's just the performance is trash on these things. So Tommy Hilfiger. Last but not least, Abercrombie's Fierce. This is a very aromatic citrus, a little bit of fir resin, some lily of the valley, other white florals, jasmine and rose, and it's earthy with vetiver and moss. It's a sexy, fresh, aromatic, smooth, soft, airy kind of a fragrance. The citruses and stuff in this thing aren't real uplifting. They're not real bright and sparkly, even though it's like lemon and orange that's in here. They're not like super bright. This thing focuses a little bit more on the sexy nature of this thing, with like the earthiness and the lavenders and the florals and stuff. And it still smells like the original. And the original was eau de cologne. This is an eau de cologne. The bottle, I think the original was just like a plain bottle, but they got this dude on there now. So the original never performed all that good, but my goodness, this thing disappears like immediately. I literally sprayed this thing on my arm like 10 minutes ago, and I can't even smell it now. I mean, I could be going nose blind. It's probably like 20 or 30 minutes, but I remember I was going to a church event up in Georgia. They needed like a drummer for like that day or whatever, and I just so happened to be in Georgia for a little while, and you know, they brought me on board, and I was like doing the rehearsal or whatever, and I sprayed pretty heavy because I knew that it was pretty weak because I had wore it once before, and I was like, all right, let me just spray the daylights out of this thing. I gave it like 15 sprays, right? I feel like by the time I got up to the drum cage, I still couldn't smell that thing. So a huge disappointment, because this was another one of my favorite fragrances. All three of these were in my top favorites, especially of the time. Tommy Hilfiger was my number one back in like 1997. Polo Sport came around. It didn't knock Tommy Hilfiger off, but man, I was going back and forth with the two of them. And then in the early 2000s, this came about, and this was my new jam. And then it was Acqua di Gio. But yeah, all three of these, man, were just my go-tos. But now the performance on these things is so lackluster. But they are good for the gym. They are good for out of the shower. They'll help you revisit the moment of when you first sprayed these things. This still smells like the Abercrombie store back in the day. And so there's that with these fragrances. And I just wanted to, kind of give my opinion and almost forewarn in a way, because they're locked up in the case so you can't smell them. You can't test them out or anything like that. And like Burlington, I don't think that they have like return policies. So I warned you about these. And like I said, if you guys have a different experience, then please let me know on these. And then later on, I'm going to do a video on classics, just a couple of them that are still worth it, that still perform good and still smell almost the same as what they did back in the day. So that's my final thoughts on these three nostalgic, what was once awesome classic fragrances. And with that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always. And until next time.